All right. So, oh man, this is episode 1 of Blaze's Niche. I think the title is like a permanent thing. I'm not sure if it should be or if it should just be a placeholder. It was gonna be Blaze's Room, but then I figured it's a little too confining that way. God forbid I have to record a podcast not in my room. So then it kind of ruins things in that way. So that's why it's not Blaze's Room. But yeah. Oh, I didn't sync. There's going to be a cut here. It's just going to be me syncing. Okay? I almost broke my desk. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Gotcha. Okay. So, this is episode 1. Not much is going to change for these first couple episodes. Just kind of regaining our footing. Kind of refamiliarizing myself with everything. I'll have a lot more to talk about. I think my quality of life is a little higher. I'm just happier to be. A little bit of a rough patch very recently. But we persevere, I guess. Yep. Still working at Publix. Still working at the county. I've cut my hours again at Publix, and I think I actually kind of appreciate it a little more now in terms of the job. I don't mind it as much, but yeah. I hope that my head's not cut. I don't know if I got a perfect angle. But this is fine. If it gets cut, it's whatever. I'll slouch a little, I guess. Make sure this is as low as it can go. But yeah, what's new? So on the monitors, I'm sure this just looks like another episode of the old podcast. And like I said, for a while, it'll probably be in this format. I'm going to try to have more guests, so we'll see how that goes. And then maybe do some mobile stuff. So in terms of being on the ground, as they say, being outside. So we'll see about that. I have Trigun pulled up. If you guys don't know, Trigun is probably like my favorite anime. Probably. If someone asked me what my favorite anime was, I'd probably say Trigun. If I had had a definite answer. But yeah, it's really good. I really enjoy it as a show. But they just remade it. They just came out with a remake, and it's all CGI, it's all 3D, and it's called Trigun Stampede. And I would implore everyone to not watch it. I'm sure it's fine. I've only watched the first episode, mind you. Now, before I call it bad, I'm not going to call it bad. I'll just say that, and if you want something quick and that's probably more action-based, and that's kind of your thing, Trigun Stampede will probably be more for you. It seems like they've kind of gone away from like the deeper writing and the deeper considerations of Vash as a character. It kind of feels like they're kind of not forgetting, but just rushing his character. They handle things. A lot of the things that happen in Trigun don't happen for a while, or you don't have a reason. They don't have a reason that they happen for a while. You're kind of just watching just because the show itself is interesting, or at least I think it is. And then eventually you get to the lore after that, sort of like Cowboy Bebop in a way. And that's comparison has been had multiple times before, but I enjoy it more than Cowboy Bebop personally. I think the themes are a little deeper. Not that the themes in Cowboy Bebop aren't deep, but I think that they maybe apply to me more, or they're just more applicable to me, or I don't know, I just like them more, whatever. But I would implore you to watch the original before watching the remake. I would say don't watch the remake, but I'm not going to say it's bad because, like I said, I've only watched one episode. They changed a lot of the art style. Art style is really different. Super different. And then they kill a character, a really cool character too. They don't kill her, but like she's just not in the show. They like dead her, I guess. But yeah, I would implore people to go watch the original. a lot of the mystery that's in the original they solve, or not solve, they give away in the first episode of the remake. So it's kind of like very odd. Also, Vash is like this weird e-boy like looking character, and then the animation looks like Arcane mixed with like Guilty Gear. It's super odd. Like the style is super weird now. I would implore people not to watch it. Or if you're interested in it, I would implore people to watch the original, please. The original is really good. It starts off a little slower, but it just makes more sense, and it's just like it. Like I said, I haven't finished it, but it feels more satisfying, I feel like. But I will watch 2 more episodes. They say you, if you give once you've watched 3 episodes of a show, you've given it an honest try. So I'll watch 3 episodes. So I'll watch 2 more of Trigun Stampede and get back to you guys on that. I will say that for all that they tell you in the first episode, they do it pretty well. It doesn't seem too rushed. The only reason it does seem rushed to me is because it's unraveled over time in the original, and obviously you're learning that in the first episode in the remake. So but overall, like, the writing doesn't seem bad in terms of like the pacing and how it works. It feels very new anime, like more often than not, newer animes tend to get into the meat and potatoes of things in the first couple episodes. First episode, if not first 3, at least. I think the original Trigun kind of strayed away from that, even though it's not a long anime. And I think the new, as far as I'm concerned, unless they're doing something drastically different to the canon, I think the remake is, which they might be, because they, deaded a character, whatever. I think the new Trigun is more for like present audiences that want to kind of be engaged in the show the first episode they see, or be engaged in the show for very often. Vash also does like a feat in the first episode of the remake that he probably would never do in the original show, and he definitely wouldn't do it in the first episode. So it's a really interesting take. I don't really know what public opinion is, but I imagine it's not great. I imagine that it's not great because Trigun purists are they're pretty open. I would say most of them probably disagree with the show, but they'll probably watch it anyways, just because people have been begging for something Trigun for so long. It's kind of sad that this is what we got, but like I said, maybe it's better than I'm giving it credit for. I need to watch 2 more episodes just to know where I'm at with it, but it's interesting. But if you like that new age CGI animation kind of vibe thing, then yeah, that show might be perfect for you. But that's all I'm going to say about it. Like I said, if you're interested in it, if you've just seen some... See, the thing is, I would say if you think the first episode of Trigun is cool, then I feel like you should just watch the original. But then it's like you already know so much that's going to happen also. So it's tough to recommend. Basically, regardless of if you want to watch the original or not, or the remake, I think you should watch the remake. I would recommend that you watch the remake, or the original. I'm sorry. I'd recommend that you watch the original. But that's to everyone. That's not just if you're interested. I think that the original is just like a really good anime. But like I said, it's slow. It has its issues. I understand if people can't get into it. It's a very different show, I think. So, it didn't see much success in Japan, actually. It actually was more praised in the US, which is interesting for an anime. But anyways, that's all I'm going to say about Trigun. Watch it if you want to. It's good. It's only like 30 episodes, I think 28 or something, I want to say. But yeah, it's a very good question. Kind of messes with your mind a little, or a couple episodes do. But yeah, let's see what else has been going on. Oh, I'm watching. Okay, couple things. Wow, I have a lot more to speak about than I thought so in this episode. So I started watching Breaking Bad. I finished it, right? Not a huge fan. It's funny because most people who watch this are probably going to follow me on Twitter, and they're probably going to see my reaction to the ending of Breaking Bad. Basically, I'll just sum it up as at a certain point, it felt like I couldn't root for anyone, which is a problem for me. If I can't root for characters in the show, I don't know why I'm watching the show. I at a certain point, I didn't even want to see what happened. I wanted to be over with it. Like, I wasn't watching the show because I was like, oh my god, I have to see what happens next. I'm like so far into the show, and so much stuff has gone to shit, and like, in almost in like the most unsatisfyingly way possible, that I'm just like, let's just fucking end the show. Like, let's just get this shit over with. And that's another thing. The show is super unsatisfying, except for the finale. For the last like 2 seasons, I would say, or maybe last season and a half, like the last half of the last season, or the last half of the 4th season, and then the last season are like just super unsatisfying. And like the finale does good. The finale's not bad at all. The finale's the best episode in the last season, I think. Everyone says Ozymandias, and yeah, Ozymandias is good. Like, it's definitely not a bad episode. But I honestly don't understand. I don't know. I don't understand. I guess I don't understand the relationship he had with. Okay, I'm gonna do a spoiler warning here. These are spoilers, guys. These are spoilers for Breaking Bad. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a timestamp if I remember. I'll put a timestamp. Oh, please, Blaze, put a time code. I'll be very mad at you if you don't. Anyways, I guess I didn't understand how deep the Hank and Walter relationship was. Like, I knew that Walt cared about Hank and like didn't want him to die or didn't want him killed or anything like that. That makes complete sense to me. But this idea that his character is completely broken over Hank's death is super odd to me. Like, because what I had honestly thought had happened, this was back in season like 4. I had thought, because obviously I knew that meme of like Walt falling to the floor and like his glasses falling off his face or whatever, I knew that was like in Ozymandias, so I knew it was something really horrible. But I honestly thought, and I think this would have been a really cool plot line. A lot of people really would have probably been mad about this plot line, granted, but I would have loved this plot line if it happened. If like what I had thought had happened was maybe like Walt Jr. died in a car accident, because like, and then like he was torn up about like the fact that all of his actions up to that point, and then the cockiness of the money to buy his son a really nice car, would lead him to his son's death, which would make sense because they do a lot of foreshadowing about how his son drives dangerously. He drives a lot. He drives fast, all this stuff. He brags about how fast he drives and stuff like that. He like sarcastically says he'll drive safe. So I felt like that was coming, but obviously it didn't. And I'm not mad that it didn't. I love Walt Jr. as a character, and I'm not mad that he lives or anything. But I felt like when I knew Ozymandias was what it was, and then I knew that meme was in that episode, I thought that it would be more gut-wrenching. I thought I would care more, because I love Hank's character. I think Hank is like one of the best characters in the show, and I think he's a little underrated, undervalued by the internet. Yeah, I'll say the internet because I haven't talked to too many people about the show face to face. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like his death wouldn't make Walt that, like, his death didn't break my heart like it did Walt's, I guess. Like at some point there's just this feeling that Hank has to die, and I didn't know he died. I didn't know he died until he died. Well, I guess the episode before I was like, okay, yeah, Hank's probably dead. Well, like almost 1,000,000% Hank's dead, right? So, yeah, I don't know. It was super odd to me. I thought it was going to be something. So I guess my expectations for Ozymandias were like a little bit higher than they should have been. And maybe that's a moniker, not a moniker, a tone to set for the whole show and my feelings for the whole show. Maybe the expectations that people placed on it were just a little too high for what I was expecting. And honestly, if let's say, it's tough to say that if I didn't have any expectations of the show, if I would have kept watching. I honestly don't think I would have, but I digress. I can't say that for sure. I feel like if I had less expectations, I would have dropped the show a long time ago. But because I had such high expectations and I heard such good things, I just stuck with it. But anyways, I digress. There's no real answer to that. Obviously, hindsight is 20/20, hindsight bias, whatever. But it's still a good show. I'm not gonna say it's not a good show. It's a great show. I just don't think. I don't know how many people I'd recommend it to. Honestly, okay, I'd recommend it to a lot of people, but I'd recommend it to a lot of people as a lot of people really love that show. I just think it's good, or I think it's a good show, something like that. You know, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna die on a hill of Breaking Bad. You know, like a lot of other people might. But yeah, I thought it was good. I said this on Twitter, but the actors are amazing. Every actor does their job so well, down to like Huel, down to like even Bill Burr does a pretty good, has pretty good performances. Not that it really matters, but even like Beneke, who just gets fucking randomly forgotten, and I feel like it makes no sense that Beneke doesn't say anything about the money or about how Skyler sent 2 guys to his house to fucking like mafia threaten him. Like, it makes no sense to me that he's just like, I'm not gonna say anything, you know, like at all. But anyways, especially with Beneke, because like I feel like, I don't know, it just made so little sense that it was just like Beneke's not saying anything. Skyler saw Beneke in the position, in the status he was, in the condition he was, and he was like, I'm not saying anything, Skyler. And then Skyler was like, oh, okay, forget that plot. The show was like, forget that plot line forever. That's it. That's the end of that plot line. Like that never comes up. Nothing ever happens. You know, no one ever talks to Beneke again. Marie doesn't tell Hank about Beneke's neck being broken, and maybe, you know, they had something to do with that, and Hank doesn't go to bed. You know, like there's so many things that are like almost missed. Like everything works out too perfectly, unsatisfyingly, and it's just a very odd show to me in that way. A lot of things just don't feel earned, whether they're good or bad. A lot of the bad things that happen to Walt it's like, okay. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of like a specific example of like, of stuff like that. This little rant is going on a little bit longer. This time code is going to be way in the future from the spoiler alert that I had. But yeah, I really liked, really liked the cars in the show. Badger drives a Fiero, obviously. Walt Jr. or Flynn, whatever you want to call him, Walt Jr. drives a Hellcat, an original naturally aspirated Hellcat, which is so sick, by the way. That's so sick, and it's like a nice color, has a racing stripe, whatever. And then the 300C, the SRT 8300C, another naturally aspirated SRT. Oh my god, those cars are so sick. I want a 300C like that, or it's a Chrysler 300, but regardless, you guys know what I'm talking about. They're really good looking cars. It's so interesting. All the cars in the show are American. I think the only character that doesn't have an American car is Gus, and because he drives a Volvo Q70, I think it is, something 70, V70 or something like that. And that car is sick. Those Volvos are sick, and that's a German car. And I think that's the only. Oh no, I'm sorry. Jesse drives a Starlet. Jesse drives the Toyota. So I think those are the only 2 foreign cars in the whole show in terms of characters that drive. Because Mike drives a Sabre and a Buick, and I think a Cadillac. And then Saul drives a Cadillac, and then Marie. Oh no, Marie drives a Beetle. Marie drives a Volkswagen Beetle. Hank drives not a Defender. Is it a Defender? No, not a Defender. A Jeep truck. I forgot what they're called. It's not a Cherokee. I forgot what they're called. A Jeep truck. He drives a Jeep truck. And then Walt drives the Pontiac, the Aztec, and then Skyler drives a station wagon. I forgot. It's an American station wagon. It's a Ford, I'm pretty sure. And then obviously the Hellcat Charger. Or Challenger, not Charger. And then, or is it a Charger? I think it's a Challenger, whatever. And then the Chrysler, obviously. So those are all American cars, which is super interesting to me. I don't know why they chose to do that, but it's just super odd to me that there's not many foreign cars in the show. Fiero is a Pontiac, I want to say. I could be wrong on that. I think I am wrong on that. But yeah, super interesting that they just have like completely different, like, or mostly American cars. I wonder if they have like some kickback. I'm sure they did from like Dodge for putting the Charger in the show, and probably even Chrysler for putting the 300 in the show. But yeah, super like weird, odd observation. There's another car that I'm forgetting too. Oh, Jesse drives a El Camino or a Camino. I think it's El Camino, Camino, whatever. At the end of the show when he leaves, and and then he has a movie called Camino, I think, or it might be El Camino. But I thought that was interesting because that's like the continuation of the show, and I'm assuming he drives El Camino, and that's why maybe it's named with Camino, and maybe they just did that for like a funny bit, whatever. But that's also an American car. So yeah, just super like these are the things I noticed in shows. So like yeah, super is dumb, but yeah. Let's see what else. Even later, I think. Oh, never mind. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I thought that was cool. So this is a video idea I have. I think I'm done talking about Breaking Bad. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. Oh, basically, Jesse's the only character I care about. After season like 3.5, Jesse's the only character I care about. Walt isn't bad in an interesting enough way. Does that make sense? I think he does a lot of bad things that aren't explained. Like why he poisons Brick doesn't make sense to me. He just says he poisons Brick so that like he was out of the picture, but I guess I have to like kind of infer that he says like, oh, I did it for the best of you or something like that, but like it's never told to us why he does it at all. And like I don't know, it's super odd to me. I don't know. That's super odd to me. What else? I get why he lets Jane die. That makes sense. Completely makes sense. 100 million bajillion % makes sense. When Jesse, one of my favorite moments in the show is when Jesse says he can't keep getting away with this, because it's so true and it's so obviously. I think that should be like the Ozymandias moment. That's the moment where like, okay, this is like the show being self-aware. You know, this is like the show understanding. This is like the show. Like this is where the show peaks. Like the fact that we have the two main characters, and now one of them like wants nothing but the other one's demise. Not only that, but can't fathom the fact that they've gone on for this long. So that's like, but then again, this is all Jesse. Jesse is like the best character, hands down, in my opinion. And he makes the most sense. He's the best character. I love him. I love Jesse, which is interesting because there's a little portion like when he's throwing the parties and stuff that I don't really understand. Not that I don't understand it. It's just he's not very likable in that instance. But like, I don't know. when you're like mind fucked 10 million times over, how likable are you going to be, you know? So I think another really good scene, by the way, all these good scenes that I like are going to be Jesse scenes. The scene where he like talks about killing the dog, when he's talking about killing Gail, when he's talking about he killed Gail at the AA meeting, not the AA meeting. It's not an AA meeting, but it's an AA meeting for drugs, whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called. But I guess it's like a rehab meeting. When he talks about killing the dog, and then he talks about how he's not worth it, and like how he can always blame himself, and like how he feels like he's done so much to forgive himself, and he doesn't understand how other people who have done things that aren't even as bad as or like just as bad as his can't forgive themselves, like the leader hitting his son with this car while he was drunk. This is a very visceral moment, which is awesome. You know, it's a great little moment. Also, I hate Skylar. Fuck Skylar till it's fucking backwards. Fuck Skylar. She's just a bitch. She ruins like 80% of the problems that happen to Walt. Well, I guess that's not fair to say. She just does a lot of dumb shit. Just a lot of shit that makes no sense. And I've heard the argument that like, yeah, she's looking out for herself, whatever. I don't care. She's fucking cringe and I don't like her. That's as easy as it goes. Well, she also like very heavily enthused that she wants Jesse killed, and like just kind of out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but I don't know. I don't get it. because like she wants Jesse killed because she feels like it's an inevitable thing that has to happen, but then Hank gets killed, which is kind of an inevitable thing that has to happen, and like she's the most heartbroken, distraught, like how could this happen thing in the world, which it's different, yeah, but maybe it's just because, like I said, I'm biased to Jesse, and we are viewers are biased to Jesse, obviously, because we know who he is. So maybe that's what that is, but I don't like it. Either way, I don't like it. So yeah, those are my opinions. Hopefully that 20-minute rant was enough. Time code 20 minutes from when I said that. But I have this video idea where, because I really paid attention to a lot of the cars in Breaking Bad, and recently I've been watching BoJack Horseman, like appreciation videos, I guess, for lack of a better descriptor, and it's cringe. I mean, I don't think BoJack Horseman's like the funniest show ever or the greatest show ever by a long shot. I think it is, there's a lot of shortcomings, I'll say that, but I think it's really interesting that, you know, there are a lot of really cool shows, there are a lot of real cool cars in Breaking Bad, but this is a live action show, so most cars that are in, you know, like let's say you just needed cars for Breaking Bad, you're just gonna, like, you can just, if you just use cars that people have, every now and then you're gonna get a cool car. Like it's just the nature of just populations. I don't know, it's just the nature of like the thing, it's just how things work, right? And so it's not really a cognizant decision like, okay, I'm gonna put this car in and this car in and then this car in. It is when you focus on it, like when they put the Challenger in, and then when Walt drives the 300, that makes sense. Those are cool, I appreciate those segments. But in BoJack Horseman, they insert a lot of really cool cars that are pretty niche, some of them, and they had to be animated in, you know, like someone had to draw and animate the cars. It's not like they were just like, hey, we need cars, do you have a car? Yeah, I have a car. Okay, we're gonna put that in the shot. Not that that's how it happened in Breaking Bad, but I'm sure it's a lot simpler to just say, okay, we need a car in this shot, who has a car that we can use, rather than, okay, we need an animated car in this shot, let me not just put some random Joe Schmo car. Let me put a, you know, cool car that I like, or a car that I think is distinct, or whatever, you know? And it's not like, oh yeah, these cars are kind of similar to real cars. No, like these cars are like splitting images of cars in real life. Like I know they have the Mazda 3 sedan. They have like they have like so many shots. I can't even think of any on my head. He drives an Explorer, I think. I think he drives an Explorer or a 4Runner, one or the other. Basically, I just love the attention to detail on the cars, and I feel very seen by it. There's one scene where he's pulling off from the, it's funny, he actually drives a Tesla Roadster, which isn't really a thing technically, but before Tesla was huge into making cars and made very small quantity cars, they made a Tesla Roadster that was super cool and looks nothing like the Tesla that he drives, but it's still a Tesla Roadster. So it's almost kind of cool to see that insight. Maybe he saw that and thought he shouldn't and put that in the show, but regardless, whatever, I think that's cool. And then he puts a Lancer in, which is an Evo, which is a very important Mitsubishi car, when in one scene when he's driving away from the bar, that's just there for like 2 seconds, but the shape is so distinct, and it looks, like it's an Evo, like no mistaking, no questioning, it's an Evo 1,000,000%. And I think that's cool, things like that. I think that's cool. So my idea for a video is to just look at every scene with cars in it in BoJack Horseman and just pick out whichever cars that I see and show a picture of what they look like in real life compared to them in the show, and then show a picture of a car, that car that I like, you know. Maybe it's a little different, sometimes it's not. If it's like a hypercar, that it's not going to look that different most times. But yeah, I think that'd be a cool idea. It's just a lot of work. But this year, I'm talking so fast, by the way. This year, I want it to be the year where we grind. I've said this before. I said this on the last episode of the old podcast. This is the year of grindage, of grinding. I'm not... Pause. I don't want to slow down. I don't want to take any breaks. I just want to go. Like, whatever I want to do it, and I want to do it as well as I can without fail. That is my, like, biggest goal for this year. I don't want anything to let me stop. I don't want any opinions, any fucking outlooks, any fucking cringers to stop that goal. So if we can do that, I'll be happy with this year. I originally was like, okay, I want to come out with this many videos by the middle of the year. And then I was like, what the fuck? Doesn't matter how many videos I come out with. I just want every video to be a fucking banger. I just want every video to be great, and then the last video to be better than the next video. Those are the only things I fucking care about in terms of this YouTube channel. Also, this episode will be on Spotify, probably. Either this episode or next episode. And if next episode, then this episode. After that, next episode comes out. So if you want to listen to them on your phone and miss out on visuals, which I'll try to be mindful of, I'll put a link in the description. If not on this episode, then the next episode. And then I'll come back and edit this episode to have the link for the podcast in the description. It'll just be on Spotify. But yeah. So yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be exciting. What else do I have to say? I want to read more this year. I met an old friend who I used to work at Barnes and Noble with, and I've been wanting to read for a while, and then they have kind of reinvigorated that in me too. So recently I have this Super Mega Saves the Troops book. I want to read that. That book is fucking hilarious. After out of the 12 pages I've read, but yep. What else? God, 30 minutes already. So I got this Dragon Ball calendar today. It's really cool. I'll try to put it up somewhere so you guys can see it during the episodes. That'll be cool. I don't know if you guys can see it. There's probably a glare, but yeah, that's it. So I started watching Dragon Ball Super because after I finished Breaking Bad, I wanted something else to watch. Excuse me. So I started watching Dragon Ball Super, and I'm at the part where Frieza just got resurrected. So yeah, had a pretty good part, and it's pretty good. Super is cool in the fact that I think it feels like original Dragon Ball without being too much like it to be not entertaining. So I really employ that for it. This is just a Dragon Ball Z poster, so there's not going to be anything too crazy. No SSJN or anything like that. Yeah, there's literally one of the months is the fucking Ginyu Force. So anyways, drove my car. Oh, well, let's go back to Dragon Ball Super for 1 second. I really like the art in Dragon Ball. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's very iconic. Everyone very much knows it is. But, yeah, it's good art. And as I said, I think Dragon Ball Super does a great job of encapsulating Dragon Ball Z in the perfect way without feeling like a completely different show. And not feeling completely boring and repetitive. So, granted, I'm only half a season in or a season in. So, I mean, I'm on episode 40, so anyways, also Beerus is the sickest anti-hero ever. I love Beerus and Whis. They're really two really insanely good additions in terms of characters. Really like them. What was I saying? Oh, I got to drive my car the other day. Took some really cool pictures. Really liked how those pictures came out. It kind of bums me that people on my Instagram don't like my car photos, but I understand. I mean, it's my car that, I don't follow too many car people. I don't follow people on Instagram that are solely car people. And the ones that I do, they do like that stuff. So I appreciate them for that. But I don't know. I think that post got 50 likes, which isn't a big deal. Likes don't really matter to me. It was just surprising. I hadn't posted in a while, and then I got 50 likes. Deal. But like I said, I don't really care. I like how the pictures came out, and it makes me want to wrap my car white. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it's something on my mind. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I've been talking really fast in this podcast. I need to slow down. I think my mind is on a million right now. Yeah, my state of mind is pretty good. I have a therapy session this Wednesday. And yeah, I'm starting therapy. Did I don't know if I've told you. Yeah, I've told you guys my New Year's resolution. I was going to do BetterHelp, but then a friend of mine I've come very close with, recommended me their therapist. And, she seems cool, the therapist, not my friend. She seems cool, and I'm excited to, have our first session and such. So, yeah. But yeah, we drove a little bit better than I expected, so that was cool. I felt awesome driving it, bro. It felt so good to drive that car again. Oh my god, it felt nice. It felt really nice. But yeah, we can slow down now. I think I've gotten everything out that I wanted to. So there's a new GTR Lego set, and that comes out in March. So if anyone wants to give me a 7th month early birthday present, That GTR is up there. I went to Barnes and Noble today when I got this calendar, by the way. I also got some cards. I don't know where to put them, like Dragon Ball Z card pack cards. But anyways, and they were like, I used to work there, and then someone that I knew was there, and I was like, do you have this Lego set? And she was like, no, we just got some in, but we can't sell them till March. And I was like, okay, don't worry about it then. And then she was like, I can go check if that's the one. And I was like, no, don't check, because then it's going to be the one, and then I can't have it till March. And then she's like, yeah, but I want to see what it is. So I was like, okay, I guess for your own selfish gain, we can check if you have it, so I can't have it until March, right? So then she goes, right? She was walking. Took a little bit longer than I had liked, if I'm honest. Come on, guys. Customer service needs to be faster. But anyway, she comes back and she's like, yeah, that's the one. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell, man? Now I have to wait until March when I know you have it back there. Like, it's so fucked. Jesus. If she would have came back and she would have been like, no, we don't have it. But we will be getting it. Then it would be like, okay, nice. Now she had to be, yeah, that's the one. What the fuck, man? Now, if I worked there, I could probably buy it. But since I don't, I can't. So, anyways, or maybe not. Probably not, actually, if I worked there. But, yeah, that's what happened today. That was funny. New tattoo tomorrow. New tattoo tomorrow, guys. New Berserk tattoo dropping tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday. I tweeted Monday. I don't know why I tweeted Monday. But, yeah. New tattoo tomorrow. New fuck. New tattoo tomorrow. Hopefully that looks how I want it to look. I don't think so. For all you audio listeners, I just took my little plush Lucario and like pointed at the camera with them a couple times as I said, new tattoo tomorrow. Thanks. Oh my god, that's gonna be something I have to do now. For all you audio listeners at home, fucking losers. Not audio listeners, losers, like me, losers. Anyways, yeah, new Berserk tattoo tomorrow, and it will be so hard. It's from a tattoo artist I met at an emo night off Okeechobee, who was really cool, really cool. They like said that they really liked my Azazel tattoo because that was right when I got my Azazel tattoo, and that was really sick. Having other tattoo artists call your tattoos cool is just like so validating. I don't know, like obviously it makes sense why, but it's just there's something about it. So if you, yeah, something about it. Anyone who's gotten a compliment from another tattoo artist knows, you know, that it just feels good. I got this Hot Wheel, haven't opened it for you guys, I'll try to post a picture of it. It's a Mazda, listen to this, Mazda 787B. And you might be saying, this doesn't look like a Mazda. Yeah, it doesn't, because it's their Formula racing car. Whoa. Or it used to be. It's not they take it out now and drive it just for like the show, but it's not. It's not really a car. Like it is, but it's like the one in a bagillion racing car. So, little backstory on this car. This car has 4 rotaries in it. If you don't know what a rotary is, it's like a certain type of engine. Most engines have cylinders. Rotaries, some engines have rotaries. Very small sample size of these rotaries. Mazda, for whatever reason, this Japanese company was like, we are going to perfect rotaries. And they did. In their Formula cars. Because they put them in fucking commercial cars and they suck ass. They don't suck ass, but they're just not great. Anyways, the 787B has 4 rotors. To compare, the probably the most sought after rotary car is the RX-7 FD. That's a dual rotor car. So this car has double the rotors. And it's also a Formula car and it weighs like 1,800 pounds or something. It's an insane fucking car in terms of driving it. It sounds like a fucking fighter jet and a half. It sounds so sick. I sound so cringe right now. Anyways, so what Mazda did, Mazda wanted to, I don't know if you guys knew this. This was my little Mazda Air coming in. Mazda there's no Z in I almost said Japanese. In Japanese. So it's called, in Mazda's actually said Matsuda. It's Matsuda. Just in case you ever have to know that. But anyways, what Mazda did was they wanted to be. They had this team called the Mazda Speed Team, and they just wanted to be fast. They were solely a racing team for a long time. I think they were named something else before the Mazda Speed Team, but I don't remember what it was called. But anyways, they wanted to be taken seriously in the racing circuits. So eventually they had gotten rotors down pretty well. They were racing a lot of races. They won a couple. This is like your donut media, what you should know about Mazda Speed. Anyways, eventually they go to Le Mans. They have the chance to go to Le Mans. If you don't know what Le Mans is probably the most prestigious race you can win in the fact that it's a 24-hour race. So it goes on for 24 hours, rain, night and day. You have multiple drivers to get through, to switch out in and out. Famously, the Ford F40, the Ford GT40, which I'll post a picture of right here. Very iconic car. If you've ever seen this car or these colors, these are heritage colors. Excuse me. I think this is the only Ford that had won Le Mans. This is like what Ford versus Ferrari is based on. Ford basically beat Ferrari, who was the favorite that year, in order to kind of reinvigorate the company because Ford was going downhill at the time. So this is where we're at. Ford beat Ferrari when Ferrari was the favorite, and that was a huge deal at the time. Whole bunch of years later, I don't know. Time frames, are not my strong point. History is good. I like history. I can't tell you when things happen. I'll tell you all about like the fucking oil refineries in Nigeria, and like what other random history shit do I know? Not that much apparently. But anyways, I love history. Really bad with dates. Super horrible with dates. No clue. Someone said something about 1792 or 1792, and I thought they were talking about Columbus the other day. And I was like, yeah, maybe I could brush up on some of my history because I'm really bad at it. Now, 1792, 1492? Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue. They're kind of close. But anyways, regardless, it doesn't matter. Mazda eventually, they were like, we're going to do the four-rotor. We're going to do 4 rotors in one car. And because they tried to do 3, I think, at one point, and the weight distribution was too hard. Every rotor had to be the same exact size. They had to spin at the same exact time, or else you had weird weight distribution. So the way, God, I didn't even explain how rotors work. So the way that rotors work is there's a triangle. It's shaped like a Dorito. Everyone calls it a Dorito. That's like that's its moniker, its nickname, whatever. And it's in like a chamber that's shaped like an oval, right? Or not an oval, like a zero. It's shaped like a zero. And in this chamber, your Dorito spins, but it spins in a way that it's like perfect. It spins like perfectly, and it creates power this way. And it can create a lot more power because it can spin faster than a cylinder can pump. Does that make sense? I don't know why I said that. I'm mansplaining this right now. I'll post a GIF or a video, probably a GIF, maybe a video, doesn't really matter. They're the same thing. It's gonna be muted anyways if it's a video, of like what a rotary looks like. And just imagine 4 of those in your car. So like let's put it this way. So the RX-8 is a 1-rotor car that was made in 2008. That car could make 200 horsepower or around 200. I think it was like 220. Some cars had 200, some cars had 230, whatever. Let's say around 210. Let's say around 210 horsepower. And that was 1 rotor. 4 cylinders nowadays can barely get to 150 without a turbo. Barely. That's like very high compression for a 4-cylinder. Let's not talk about the fucking S2K because it breaks that formula like a million times over because Honda's fucking insane. But anyways, so basically you can do with 1 rotor what you can do with 4 cylinders. In theory, the more rotors you add, the more complicated it gets. Normally, the more cylinders you add, the easier it gets, and the more power you can make. But rotors don't really work that way, just because of how complicated they are. So they have these openings in them, and that's how the car breathes. That's how the rotor breathes. So like sometimes carbon can get in the channels, in the apexes. And why am I explaining this so thoroughly? It can just be so simple. Basically, rotors are smaller than cylinders, and they can make just as much power, exponentially more power than one cylinder. The cylinder to rotor ratio is like 4-to-1, maybe even a little bit more. So they did that with the 787B, but they put 4 rotors in it. So it's a quad rotor. I think it's 2 dual rotors. So a dual rotor is when you have, it's like a cylinder. When you have 4 cylinders in a line connected with your dual cam, usually with your cam. So it's like if you had a cam connecting 2 rotors and they're spinning together rather than spinning separately. If you don't know, when you're if you have a cam, your cam keeps your cylinders in line. So as they go up and down, they're in a line, and they're sort of rim thick. They're sort of symmetrical. They kind of work off of each other in that way. So the 787B has 2 dual rotors, so 4 rotors. So let's say it can make like almost the power. If we take our conversion rate of 4-to-1, 4 cylinders to 1 rotor, it can make like 16 cylinders worth of power, right? Yes and no. The more you add, the more rotors you add, the more reliability and performance issues you have in terms of keeping it perfect. So basically, Mazda tried this for years. They kept putting rotors in. No one else tries to use rotors, by the way. No one else at Le Mans tries to use rotors. No one's using them because they suck, right? They don't suck. They're just too hard to perfect, in their opinions. Anyways, Mazda comes along, makes this fucking amazing looking car, super aerodynamic, super cool looking car. I know it probably just looks like most race cars, honestly, to most people, but it's just so iconic. And it sounds insane, and they won Le Mans with it, and no one thought Mazda would win Le Mans. I think the year before they were holding a lead, and then their rotor broke, or they had problems, and they had to stop. So yeah, it's a very iconic car. Probably definitely the most important car in Mazda's racing circuits. But yeah, really cool car. So if you ever hear anything about rotaries, if you I don't know when you're gonna hear anyone talk about a rotary. Rotaries have long been retired because they're bad on gas for one. They're bad for emissions, and they're just kind of inefficient in today's standards. A lot of people still drive rotaries. My favorite car probably ever is an RX-7 FB. That's a rotary car. RX-7 FC is a rotary. RX-7 FD is a rotary, which we talked about. RX-8 is a rotary, which is my first car. But yeah, they're really cool. Mazda's really cool. Yeah, I love them as a company. Mazda does not. It's a big thing that Mazda is like kind of a new age company that is solo owned. So like, what I mean by that is like Subaru and Toyota are kind of solo owned, but they're partners, so it doesn't really matter. Nissan is owned by Peugeot, I think. Peugeot? They're owned by some German company. I don't remember who. But like a lot of the bigger brands are just owned by parent companies. And Mazda is not one of those brands, or in a partnership. Mazda is not one of those brands, and that's super admirable. And they like to push the envelope enough to where like it's inspiring to me. Granted, they have some mistakes. They got rid of the Mazda Speed name. Haven't made a Mazda Speed car in a long time. But they still make fucking beautiful cars. The Mazda 3 is such a nice car. Mazda 3 is fucking great car. And then obviously the Miata. Oh my god, the poor man's Porsche in the best way possible though. New Miatas are so nice. But yeah, that's my like fucking 40-minute, no, not 40 minutes. Let's say 20-minute car rant. Yeah. So I think this episode is like perfect in terms of like the title, Blaze's Niche. Blaze's Niche shiz. Well, no, Blaze's Niche. Because a niche, I don't know if you guys knew this. I didn't know this until I looked this up. A niche is like almost like an alcove. Like it's like the small little corner. Yeah, and that'll be me. That's what this is. So it's a cool little name. I like the name, and I think this episode is very fitting for that name. I do a lot of overanalyzing of shows, and I do a lot of rambling about cars, and that's what this episode was. So I do a lot of rambling in general, though, honestly. But this might be an abrupt end to this episode, but I think this is a perfect place to stop it. And I've had a great time talking to you guys on this episode. I feel more lively than I did before. So maybe, I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll do like an episode a month instead of an episode every week. Or maybe an episode every 2 weeks. I haven't decided wholly yet, but I think we are going to dial back the episodes a little bit. I think that the more I have to talk about, maybe the more interesting they'll be. Maybe the more entertaining and interesting they'll be to me, which might be important. I do this really weird thing where every time I put an episode out, I watch it myself. And most times I enjoy them, but during the latter episodes of the last podcast, I kind of didn't. Other than the very last one, I thought it was a good last episode. Joey gave me some shit about how I ended it because he thought it was corny, but fuck Joey. So, anyways, yeah. That's all I really have to say. I've lost 2 pounds. Well, I say I lost 2 pounds. I've lost more than 2 pounds. Let's say I kept off 2 pounds. Since that episode, I've kept off 2 pounds. I'm 2 pounds lighter than I was in that episode. Because I've lost, like, I went to like 185, and then I went back up to like where I was in that episode, and then I went back down. So let's say I kept off 2 pounds for now. Let's just say that. As much as I can. Like, as much as I'll grant myself. Let's say that. So that's good. We're just working slowly but surely. And yeah, I want to work on these episodes. I need to finish Shenanigans 11. It is so funny so far. I love it so much. I can't wait for you guys to see it. I'm going to just spoil this for you guys right now. There's going to be a bit in the Shenanigans where I go, I need to finish Shenanigans, guys. Be funny. Because I'm going to say that. Like, actually, whenever I play games next, because it's been a while since I played games, and I'm going to clip the reactions, and then that's going to be in the Shenanigans. And that might be low quality, that might be cringe, whatever. I really want to get done the episode. I mean, the part right now is really good. So if you gather anything at all from this giant rambling, and you made it to 51 minutes, just know my passion and my love of YouTube and this channel lies in Shenanigans for right now. So if it means anything, as many podcasts as you watch, if you guys want to be like, oh, I wonder what I should share to people, share to people the Shenanigans series. If it's applicable. Don't share it to like your fucking mom that, I don't know, is a fucking wasp or something, or I don't know, like, you know, just, yeah, I just love those videos, and I think they're really enjoyable. And that's it. That's it. Well, as I said, that's it. New tattoo tomorrow. You guys will see it for sure. Like, yeah, that's all I have to say. I hope you guys have a great day, great week, great 2 weeks, great whenever I see you again, whenever you see me again, whenever you hear me again, for you audio listeners. And I hope you guys enjoyed our little time together. Appreciate you, and goodbye. Hey.